Yo, what's going on, you guys? Your boy Pony Montana, and in this video, we're going to be going over passing tips that are going to work for pretty much anybody who might be struggling to pass the ball in any way, shape, or form in Madden. Now, I always tell people to leave a comment, blah, 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 blah. You guys already know the whole spiel. Same thing for this video, obviously. If you guys are struggling with anything, leave a comment, and pretty much I'll try my best to find something. So the more heartfelt the comment is, the more inclined I'm going to be to sit there and try my best to help out anybody who is struggling in any way when it comes to Madden. And I had a comment in my last video where the guy was as modest and as humble as you could possibly be. And as honest as he could be. He has a good team. He has everything that you need to be a good passer. Unfortunately, he's still having trouble with it. So in this video, we're going to be going over the simplest passing tips that are going to help, whether you're intermediate, whether you're a pro player. This could be a long video as well, so bear with me. But this is what this video is going to be for. We're going to just break down in depth, pretty much go over basics and basic route combinations and stuff that even some of the pro players use to kind of create that type of separation to make their life a little bit easier. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is abilities. And I speak about this all the time when it comes to passing abilities, is you got to have some kind of throw velocity ability. Now, right now, I'm currently using the brand new Super Bowl Russell Wilson that just came out, and simply because I can get a lot of decent abilities on him. I don't know why I just called the play that I did, and one of the reasons that is because we want to make sure that we're able to fit passes and fit throws in between tighter spaces, and that's why you want some kind of throw velocity ability. Now, I believe that Russell Wilson is actually a shorter quarterback, and I feel like that kind of messes with his trajectory point sometimes, which is going to frustrate me, honestly. But obviously, that's something that I have to worry about with, my choice in quarterbacks. But a throw velocity ability is a must-have. It's something that is huge and extremely important. Now, number two, because one of the main metas in Madden are running man coverage on defense. So let's say I'm on the defensive side and I'm running man coverage. One of the main things that we need to get past is the press and the lockdown man coverage. And how do you do that? Well, simple. You simply have short and elite, short out elite, route technician, or slot-o-matic on your receivers. Now, short in elite is going to be the one that's going to get you a lot of separation. Short out elite is going to help with the pressing animations, and then route tech and slot-o-matic are kind of like a combination of like trying to get those short routes to work, and get a decent amount of separation. You'll notice that a lot of your players end up lighting up on a lot of these routes, but that is going to be where you get your most separation. Now, granted, Russell Wilson, horrible throw there. But my entire team has short and elite, and I'm a fairly decent passer. I'm not the best, obviously, or else I'd be in the MCS or I'd be grinding for a belt right now. But I play good enough and well enough, especially passing wise, to sit there and get some pretty decent route combinations, and I'm able to throw pretty decent passes. So again, if you guys are utilizing any type of wide receivers, any type of tight ends, you guys have to make sure that you guys are putting the right abilities on these players. Now, this is obviously different for regs players, because you guys have to work with what the team gives you. So obviously you guys have to work with certain routes that could potentially just beat man coverage stock. So obviously mutt and regs, they're not interchangeable. Like, you can't sit there and take the same concepts that you learn in Madden Ultimate Team and take them over to regs. Now, next thing, learning how to read defenses. Like right here, it looks like this guy is in a cover 1 or a cover 0, depending. It doesn't look like a cover 3 simply because it looks like the safety's manned up, but it is a cover 3. Now, again, that's on me to know that, but I'm looking at this like this is like he's blitzing, so I'm immediately going to prepare myself to face a blitz. and I'm gonna make sure that I have 2 seams out there just to make sure that I can hit them. If he is in a cover 3, I'm gonna have a drag somewhere, and I'm gonna try to motion slant somebody just so I can get a little bit of extra coverage. And if I can see that he's running a certain kind of coverage, I'm gonna try to hit it where in the weak spots of each coverage. Now we can go over the weak spots of this. Now in this video, this right here looks like a cover 2. And hopefully I'm not wrong here, but this is a pre-snap read, and yes, we are in a cover 2. I made a video on this previously, but obviously we're going over everything in this video because this is going to be a very in-depth video. Because one of the main things that I feel that people struggle with are route concepts. A lot of people struggle with route concepts when it comes to playing Madden. And it makes it so that they sit there and they end up forcing passes. Like I'll end up playing players that are nonstop just sending 4 verticals out, and then granted sometimes it works, and they'll sit there and just lob passes up. It makes your life 10 times more frustrating. Now granted, you will end up catching some of them sometimes, but it does make your life very, very frustrating if this is your only offense and you're going to end up getting picked off over and over and over and over and over again. This cannot be your offense. You can't force yourself to rely on these ags over the top, hoping that one of them is going to come down with it. Now, granted, just like that, sometimes you will come down with it. It's a 50-50 ball, but a majority of the time, if you're facing a good player, they're gonna pretty much clamp your life away, and you're gonna be extremely frustrated. We don't want that. So, route concepts that you guys need to know. Slant post combo, and I'm going to go ahead and call timeout real quick so I can hop into a proper formation to utilize this. But the slant post combo is something that a lot of pro players like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just call verticals here. And this is going to be something that you guys can utilize out of any trips formation. So we got the post coming from a tight end, and then on the opposite end, we are going to have a slant on one of the slot receivers. So this is pretty much what it's going to look like, and this is going to create an amazing amount of separation. Now, if you guys are looking for your first reads, obviously this is going to be your initial read here. Always take your checkdowns, but this right here is a cornerstone of any trips runners, and anybody who's simply trying to run a simple concept, because you can take this concept here and bring it to a bunch of different other formations. This is something that I want anybody who's struggling to pass. I want you to learn this. I want you to learn this simple concept, because this is going to end up beating a lot of different kind of plays, simply because if you wait long enough, this ends up being a nice little flood concept with here. And then with the slant post combo, you have a nice little high-low. So this is one of the best route combinations in Madden for those of you guys who are struggling to beat any type of formations. Now right here, we have Kittle wide open for a beautiful gain of about 20 yards. And this is a huge play. When it comes to that, this is one of the main route combinations, route setups that a lot of people like to run. Previous years, it was PA crossers where we put our tight end in a check and release route, and we'd sit there and we try to sit there and motion out and hopefully potentially try to get a route like that. And this year it's just not like that. We don't have escape artists. We don't have anything like that to counteract us trying to throw on the run like that. It makes the game a little bit harder. It does, especially in a passing game where you simply need to, play your best football pretty much. And it's honestly the same thing every year, but obviously the meta changes every year. This year, the meta is tight slots, any compressed set. That is currently the meta, simply because it has the best plays. Now, in this playbook, I believe I'm in the Texans playbook, I'm trying to win a Super Bowl in it. This doesn't really have a good tight slots at all. It does have a deuce close, which we can utilize as well, because one of the main plays is bench. This has a bench X dig, which is not the same, but it might have one in the single back formation. So let's check this out real quick. So this one has a bench switch, which isn't the bench that you actually want to run, because it utilize the interior guys, it uses the outside guys. But again, that's just simple knowledge that some people don't know, is that when you're running bench, you don't want to run the bench switch. You want to run the regular bench where the outside guys are going on those out routes, because sometimes you end up being able to hit those guys quickly when it comes to running a play. And I'll showcase exactly what it looks like. So typically this is what we want it to look like. And I do have Hot Route Master, by the way, so my routes are going to always be as crispy as possible. But again, this is one of the reasons, because we can hit those out routes as quick as possible. And it's only going to make our passing game a little bit better, because as soon as you start hitting your underneath routes, these guys start playing, let's say they start playing zones. All of a sudden they start playing zones and they start shading underneath, which allows us to sit there. And let's go ahead and just set it up on the left side, which allows us to sit there and be able to hit our routes on the outside. Now, granted, deep blue ends up covering it because I don't have a clear out route, but that's one of the main things that a lot of people struggle with. Now, next thing that I like to talk about, clear out routes. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. You need clear out routes if you're going to play or pass the ball very, very consistently. Now, what I mean by a clear out route, so say I'm coming out and I'm running Z spot and go out of bunch, and bunch is a very, very good offense that a lot of pro players still currently use. Now, bunch this year is better from the short side. I know that's crazy to sound, that it's crazy that it sounds like that, but bunch is better from the short side. Why? Because the clear out route from the bunch side helps bring back any deep blues. Now, what I mean by a clear out route is whatever route these three guys are on, right? Whatever route that these guys are on, if this guy's in a deep blue, how are you going to force that guy to go up to guard that deep blue? A clear out route. Okay. And so again, what I mean by that is you're pretty much taking one route to bring up any deep blues that are on the field. So if this guy is in a cover 3, this guy here, this safety, you want to clear our route to make sure that this guy is going out back here, and that's going to do what? That's going to leave this entire area. Let me get rid of these right here. It's going to leave this entire area having to be guarded by just 2 people. Mind you, it's just not this area. It's all this as well. Okay, it's all this area. It's gonna have to be guarded by a user, which is this guy here and this guy here, because these 2 guys are already going up the field. So when a clear out route happens, it allows your zone. So R1 should end up open. It allows your zone to end up open for a lot of different plays, a lot of different route concepts. So clear out routes are a must, and that's the same exact thing that I kind of mentioned with the slant post combo. So again, let's run a slant post combo real quick, so you guys can see exactly what that combo kind of looks like. I'm trying to make sure that I can run this properly where it doesn't look absolutely terrible. So this is actually perfect. So we're going to motion this guy out, and you guys could take a screenshot of this real quick, because obviously we're trying to help you guys out as much as possible. So right here, slant post combo straight out of bunch. It's going to work very, very well for those of you guys who are struggling. Again, you can take these concepts and apply them to any playbook that you guys could potentially be running. So again, we have our clear out. This is our clear out route right here. Okay. That streak that's on the outside. Why? Because this guy's going to get deep enough to beat most zones. And you want to post, because crossers aren't that great this year. They work. They're just not as good as these posts in getting separation and man coverage. And that's another thing that we have to talk about. So we have our slant coming from the opposite side, and the slant is going to help confuse the user. So the user has to guard this, because a lot of the times they come down and try to guard the running back route if you are sending 5 routes out, and that alone is going to be something that you guys need to be comfortable with, sending 5 routes out, because it helps your offense out tremendously. So again, this is our clear out route, right? Boom. And then we got this route here that's going to bring down any zones that could potentially be guarding the flats, right? Which allows us to have the interior, the middle here, completely open for 2 separate routes to confuse the user, and for us to pretty much throw our laser. So again, clear out routes, extremely, extremely important when it comes to passing the ball. Let's just call this play real quick, see if we can get one open. R1's open, boom. We hit it right in between the seams, and we're good to go. Now let's go over passing against zone and passing against man coverage, because the difference is, and you know what, perfectly, I'm going to show the difference here. So here we have multiple people open, but because I already know, so you see this guy come down already. right? You see this guy coming down, which means that this guy on his post is going to end up being open. The only reason that he backed up here, he starts to come down, right? But the only reason he completely backs up is because I already started my animation. Okay? So because the AI sees that I started my animation, it kind of forces him to back up. But because he's in a zone, we know that we can throw in between zones. Now, this is a huge thing that a lot of people struggle with. That is how you beat zone coverage regardless, even in real life football. So for those of you guys who love to sit there and bring in real life concepts, this is a real life concept that Madden does great, is us having to throw in between the zones. This is a real life thing. That's why some quarterbacks excel when it comes to zone coverage, because they can look off certain receivers and go absolutely crazy with their zone coverage. And it's no different in Madden. So if you're looking at this from a struggling passer's perspective, as soon as you see this, your first read. Now, granted, eyes have to be good. Your reads have to be in check. Your blocking has to be proper, but this is your first read regardless. And I told you guys that when I did the little route concept out of trips. Your flat is always going to be your first read. Immediately you see that these guys are backing up in zones, you're throwing in between. Against zone, you're throwing in between the zones. There's not even a zone out here, so we have to throw this pass. Now, again, read number 2. Again, this is a cover 3, by the way. Read number 2, we have the high-low concept here. So we can throw this right here because our zone is wide open. And if we throw this and catch this is a nice gain of about 6-7 yards, which is absolutely perfect. And there's nothing more that we can ask for that. Now, granted, I did notice that this guy came down, so I ended up holding the ball a little bit longer, and I ended up throwing a strike here, again, in between the zones. So people they're throwing the ball here. They're throwing the ball here when they should be throwing the ball there, thinking that zone isn't going to play. And again, it's all about looking off the user. So if the user ends up guarding the slant underneath, you know that the post over the top is going to end up being wide open. And that's why this is a very, very popular concept. It's a very, very popular route combination, because it helps confuse the user. And that's a huge part of playing Madden, is playing against the user. You have to confuse the user, because everything else is just AI animations that you're trying to manipulate as best as possible. We're not going over cover 3 beaters. We're not going over coverage beaters or anything like that. We're simply talking basic passing principles for you guys to get better if you guys are struggling when it comes to this. Now, the last thing that I'd like to talk about should have been the first, honestly, and that's blocking blitzers. Blitzing in Madden is it's one of the hardest things to get comfortable with, because it's always so random. So if I come out and I'm running, let's say I'm running the linebacker blitz, and again, let's just come out in bunch again. We're running linebacker blitz, and we're going to run Z spot and go. Same exact thing, right? So we're going to audible into one of the best passing blitzes in the game, and I'm going to put Hendricks in the spy. So again, blocking blitzes. This is crucial to your success when it comes to becoming a passer. And again, hopefully, if you guys are watching this video and you guys are still here, I'm not going to clickbait this video. This is simply going to be, if you guys are struggling with passing, just watch this video, because it's going to help. So aside from learning route concepts and, learning what beats man coverage or what kind of slants and stuff like that, blocking the blitz is going to be one of the best things that you guys learn how to do. So often, now granted, sometimes it works. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be that guy that goes, oh man, any player is going to clamp this up. So oftentimes you guys are passing to random people. Now that time he got kind of jammed up at the line, but so oftentimes I play players that I don't think are that good, and they'll sit there and just keep on just quick hitting me and throwing right in between zones. And they're not throwing to open players. They're forcing passes. And then eventually I end up getting an interception, and it's frustrating, because simply I'll just sit there and blitz a bad player nonstop. So if you deem yourself a bad player, this is going to be something that you guys need to learn, is different ways to block blitzes. Now, a very, very easy concept, and I've gone over this before, is if you're blocking your running back, slide the opposite way. And to slide, you press L1. It brings up your pass protection. You move your right stick. Wherever the opposite side of your running back is, that's where you're going to move your right stick. And if you don't know who to ID off of the left side, ID the furthest person that you can ID. It's a very simple tip. It's something that will help you guys out. ID the very far side person. Now, there's only certain times that you're going to want to double team, and that is if you're facing a looper. By loop, I'll show you exactly what the loop looks like, because again, this is a passing video and you're going to need to know what the loop looks like. And then after that, look at the laser. After that, obviously it's up to you to climb up in the pocket and make your read. I'm not even going to talk about pass protection, because obviously a lot of us do this. But as long as you're not traveling back behind 10 yards, you're perfectly fine. You don't have to sit there and frustrate yourself with trying to climb up in the pocket. That is an advanced technique that not everybody is even good at. Not even myself. Like, even myself, I'm not the best person to sit there that climbs up in the pocket and goes absolutely crazy. Like, I'm not Young Kiv, I'm not D Croft, I'm not any of those guys. So again, for me, I'm just going over the basic tips that help me. And this is a huge one, is simply being able to slide your line the opposite way of the running back, and then IDing the mic on whoever you think is blitzing off of that opposite side. If you're confused on it, just ID the furthest guy you can the furthest guy you can ID on that left side, or wherever that side of the running back is, because that running back is going to focus his attention on that side. Now, after that, you're simply going to slide your quarterback the opposite way, hoping that guy gets picked up. And as you can see, that time he ends up brushing right off of him, but that's simply because of the D-line pressure. So let's do that one more time. We're going to slide our line to the right, and we're going to ID the mic on the right side. Excuse me, on the same side as the running back. And this is going to be a simple blocking concept that's going to work against a lot of different people. So, and then we're going to move to the right. And again, I'm letting the user blitz in. So let me put the user in a spy as well. So we're going to put the user in a spy so he doesn't blitz in. We're sending the blitz as we should. And we're going to slide to the right again. And again, I apologize for giving horrible examples, but again, we're going to slide to the right and look at the pocket, look at the protection. Everything is blocked. So it's up to us to make a quick read, because we see that they're sending 5 people, which means somebody is open. Somebody is open. Simple. Somebody's going to be open in a situation like that. Now, I said it was the last thing, but I went over zone coverage, but I did not go over man coverage. Again, man coverage is dependent on your abilities, and that's going to be the difference between you beating someone who's running man coverage and you losing to someone who's running man coverage. If you're running no abilities and they've got knockouts all over the place, you are going to lose if passing is your main offense. That's just the reality of it. If you're playing someone who's got a bunch of man abilities, like right now, I have a bunch of man abilities on the defense. Right now, Sherman's probably the only person that doesn't, but Ward has medium route and deep route. Ward on the other side has deep route and pick artist. And if I call timeout, I have 2 inside shades as well on the team. And I believe Lot has inside shade, and like everybody's got something that's going to knock the ball out, or they're going to play tremendous man coverage on me. So when it comes to that, you're just simply waiting on the break of the ball. So take a look at Moore for example, who is he's simply in a whatchamacallit, and you see how Ward lights up, and that's because his deep route KO actually wanted to light up there. So Ward has man coverage abilities, but because we sat there and we have our short and elite, and we have mid out elite on Herman Moore, we're able to sit there and pretty much throw the ball on the break and pretty much get a nice little animation. So on the same side, Reed that's on the right side. Look at Reed completely torching his man. He lights up. That's Andre Reed, by the way. So again, if you have a good team, learning how to pass should not be a problem because you should have the abilities, the ability points to sit there and dominate your opponent on offense. It should be easy. It should be easy. But again, obviously, it's hard for some people, and I understand that, and that's exactly why I'm making this video. Now, I told you guys this was a long one, and we're doing one take because of like this is something that y'all need to know and y'all need help with. So again, if you guys need any more help, leave it down in the comment section. I will make the video. I don't mind. It's no bother, and I love helping y'all. So this is the last thing that I'm going to talk about, I promise, and then I'm going to get out of your hair as my son's screaming in the background. Hopefully that doesn't bother you. High balls. High balls are extremely important when it comes to passing in Madden. There are so many situations where you sit there and you throw a pass that you think is open. Now, granted, this one was wide open, so I could have honestly just passed that regardless. There are so many situations where you think a player is open or has a nice amount of space, and you end up throwing that ball without high balling, and you end up putting yourself in a position to throw an interception. I've done it. I know while you guys are practicing, you guys will do it, and it's going to be something that you guys got to get comfortable with, is throwing high balls in Madden. Now, when you throw high balls, any route that is going vertically in any way, kind of like this C route. Let me put these guys in not blitzing. So any route that is going vertically in any way, you're going to want to high ball. So right now, if you're looking at the play art, what passes would you high ball if you see that you got a little bit of space? You guys can pause it and answer it down in the comment section if you guys are still watching this video. But which passes would you high ball if you have a little bit of space? How many passes, excuse me, let me ask that question. How many passes are you going to high ball if you have a little bit of space? The correct answer is 3. You're going to high ball this one right here. You're going to high ball this one here. And you're going to high ball the corner route here. Now, granted, if you are wide open, and I mean wide open, like Square is right now, you're going to be able to throw that over his head for a touchdown. Beautiful pass. Easy money sniper. But if he is sitting there and he's playing that pass beautifully, you're going to have to sit there and high ball that if you want to try your best to try to get that over his head. So right now, we're going to try to get it over his head here so we can go ahead and get a perfect animation over the top of his head, so it results in us actually getting a decent animation on that stop. This is a huge thing that we need to get comfortable with. And I know it's late in the year, but who knows? This could be the same case next year when the game comes out, because I know how frustrating it could possibly be to be behind the curve when the curve was the same thing last year. I know this year is a little bit different when it comes to Madden, but that's exactly why I made this video, simply because I know for a fact that a lot of us need help. And again, nothing was open here, so let's wait and see if anything gets open. Nah. Oh, almost got a nice little dot there. So these are pretty much the basics and the strategy to passing. So to break it down one more time, we went over probably the best route combination in the game, the slant post combo. We went over the clear route. We went over blocking. We went over the high balls. We went over abilities. We went over throw velocity abilities, because again, that to me is one of the most important. We went over blitzers, because we have to, again, blitzers are huge, and it's something that you're going to deal with almost every other game when you play Madden. So you got to get the ball out. You got to be comfortable with it. Sending 5 isn't always the key, because you're going to end up throwing a bad read a lot of the time. So learning how to block blitzes is huge. These are all things that are going to help out. We learned how to throw against man coverage. We learned how to throw against zone coverage. If you need more help on anything, leave it down in the comment section, and I'll make another video. It does not bother me to make these videos. It is the end of the year, so we're going to be dropping ebooks. I'm probably going to go over all the MCS games. If you guys are still here, I appreciate the hell out of you. My name is Pony Montana. If you guys are struggling with anything, leave it down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to find something for all of you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. As always, 2 fingers, deuces, and peace out, you guys.